This is how you turn a $500 1988 Toyota pickup into a tire roasting, turbo, street truck. These Toyota pickups were not known for being fast, and this one right now actually has a few issues. Let's start with the fact that there is no engine. That's where this 1999 Toyota Tacoma comes in. It has got a 2RZ FE 2.4 liter engine. It is a 2-wheel drive. It has an automatic transmission that I actually plan on using and swapping over. This particular truck was in a pretty bad accident. This thing actually runs as it sits. First things first is I'm gonna get this thing into my shop. We're gonna get it off of the trailer and we're gonna start getting all of the parts we need for the engine swap. Let's get started. We're tearing this thing apart, and when I got it running in the truck earlier, there's a pretty bad oil leak, and if you see here, there's actually a hole in the oil filter. I can't get the oil filter off because of how badly mangled this frame is. This frame is absolutely destroyed in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut the motor mount off, and I'm gonna try and get this free of the frame a little bit, try and get some things loosened up, maybe loosen all of this tension up a little bit. All right, so I went ahead and after I got everything out of here, I put a Toyota OEM filter on because I had one laying around. I filled it up with oil because it was low because the oil filter had a hole in it. Made sure everything was clear of the accessories. Got a battery in this thing. I'm gonna throw the intake tube and mass airflow sensor back on it. We're gonna see if this thing will start. I'm kind of excited. I wanna run it for a second before as soon as I noticed there's a massive oil leak, I turned it off and asked dude what the heck was going on. He told me he thought the oil filter had a leak in it. I wasn't really sure. Wasn't sure if I should believe him. Wasn't sure if I shouldn't believe him. I took a gamble, I bought the truck anyway. I'm gonna get this thing started, see what it sounds like, and make sure everything still sounds good after starting it with a hole in the oil filter. I'm gonna be looking for that oil light in the dash, and we're gonna see what this thing sounds like. Oh, pliers. Sounds good. Oil light went off. Huh. Nervous. Nervous. This thing sounds pretty darn good. I'm actually super pumped about that. I want to pull this engine and transmission as a single unit, and then I'm going to go ahead and start disassembling interior, which is going to be a chore.
Start it up.
Alright, so I think I've got pretty much as I can get done right now. Not as much as I can get done, but as much as I can get done without starting on interior. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm just gonna jump on interior and get that completely stripped. I wanna pull the dash, HVAC, all the controls like that, because I want to try and see if I can retrofit that in the 88 Toyota pickup. Some of this front wiring is rather mangled, so I'm hoping that I can do a hybrid harness using the factory headlights and turn signals and such. For now, saving as much of this as I can.
This is lit.
All right, another day working on this thing. We got a ton done yesterday. We got the front end taken apart. We got the interior mostly stripped. We got the dash taken out of it. We got a ton of parts sitting over here, and we are getting all of the rest of them off of this thing today. We got to get a few more things out. We got to get the interior the rest of the way stripped, the wiring harness from the interior. I want to get the wiring all the way to the fuel pump, the taillights, all of that. I want to get it pulled. It'll be like I'm driving a 1999 Toyota Tacoma, when in reality I'm driving a 1988 Toyota pickup. Super pumped about that, so I'm gonna get back into it. All right, we went ahead and we finished up everything on the 99 Tacoma. We got it completely stripped. It's over there, ready to go to the scrap yard, so I'm pumped. I get to pull the 88 Toyota pickup in. We gotta get everything out of this so I can start fitting all of the Tacoma stuff. Interior, seats, wiring harness, heater controls. All of that stuff's gonna be swapped over. So I'm gonna get this thing stripped down to a firewall, except for the heater box and the blower motor, and a little bit of the venting. Other than that, this thing is going to be a bare bones, nothing there truck. We're gonna be deep into this thing, but it's the only way we're gonna be able to do this right, and I wanna do it right, and I wanna have a super sweet little sleeper. So I'm gonna quit jibber jabbering, I'm gonna get to work, and we're gonna start getting this thing back on the road. We're just gonna dive straight into the interior. This thing's already got no engine in it, and with no engine in it, pretty well done. No engine, no transmission, rear drive shaft's pulled, exhaust is pulled. All that stuff's already out of it. There is wiring in the engine bay, but I wanna jump onto the interior because that's gonna be the most time-consuming task, getting this thing stripped down. right, super excited. We went ahead and we got this thing completely stripped down. This 88 Toyota pickup has got no more wiring left in it. Everything that went to the engine and transmission is gone. I pulled out the clutch master cylinder, the clutch save cylinder, the clutch lines. I went ahead and on the interior, we completely stripped that down. On the interior, I pulled out the steering column, I pulled out the clutch lines, I pulled out the brake pedal clutch assembly because that's all one unit. Pulled out the dash bar. Every single wire in the cab is gone. So we've got a clean slate to work with and we can start stuffing everything from the Tacoma in here. Super excited about that. Tacoma's got a bunch of stuff that's got to go on. I'm gonna try and get the heater controls mocked up with the factory heater unit. So who knows? Got a bunch of work to get done though, so I'm gonna start putting things into this. I'm gonna start with the wiring and the steering column and some of the big major components that go inside, and I'd like to get the wiring out here. I've got an oil pan from the factory 22R, so I can go ahead and put that on the bottom of the 3RZ to make all of the clearances work along with the pickup tube. So I better get to getting some stuff done because right now we have got lots and lots to do. All right, we've been making a ton of progress and I'm super pumped with this. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into the cab and I'm gonna show you everything that we got done. First thing you'll notice is the entire dash is mocked up right now. That is a beautiful sight to me. I genuinely am super pumped about this. We got the steering column in, it's mocked up. A lot of this plastic's just in temporary. The dash does have a few bolts in it. It's not completely bolted in, but it does have 2 or 3 bolts in it holding it in. Got the steering column in. That's gonna have all our controls. All of this is gonna go to factory wiring for the Tacoma and I'm gonna be wiring all of that. That's gonna be a task in itself. Got the brake pedal in. And then you also saw I had to swap over this entire e-brake assemblies. I actually had to peel the carpet up and put a hole in the floor right here. I got that taken care of and the e-brake actually functions. Moving on from that, we also started mocking up everything for the automatic transmission shifter. I'm just gonna put a nice little spot for this and we're gonna be able to put the automatic transmission shifter right there and that will work out perfectly, hook up right into the column. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pull up this dash that just mocked in there. I'm gonna get that all taken out. After I do that, I'll be able to mock up wiring. I do have all of the factory wiring from the Tacoma. Every single wire from that Tacoma, from headlights to taillights. So that is gonna be an epic task to get in there.
Start it up. Lit.
Look at this. So it looks like nothing got done, but in fact, we got some wiring in. We got a whole lot of wiring in. I had to drill a hole in the firewall to get this in. I just actually expanded on the hole that was already there for the clutch master cylinder because we're no longer gonna be needing clutch master cylinder. Over on this side, I'm gonna need an entire another 2 holes to get wires through. One for the engine wiring and another one for wiring that needs to come through the firewall. Look what we've got going. Oh, look at that. We got some headlights going. Lots of things, lots of super duper exciting things. We've got headlights. That's more than the Supra has right now. The Supra doesn't even have headlights yet.
Start it up. This is lit.
Huge progress. Last night we went ahead and we got this engine transmission dropped in. We threw them in together as a combo. I just wanted to see how things lined up and it's looking pretty darn good. We went ahead and we propped the engine up a bit so we could get it off of the factory steering because I don't want to damage any of that. So it is sitting higher than it needs to right now. We're gonna need to modify this oil pan right now. We've only got maybe a ½ an inch of clearance to this steering, and that's with it propped up quite a bit off of where it needs to go. So we're gonna jump under there, we're gonna check things out, and we're gonna see how we can get this transmission mounted, and then we can move on to modifying everything for this engine, oil pan, motor mounts, getting this thing bolted in there, and then we'll be on our way to being on the road. All right, coming to you guys from the future. I'm actually daily driving the turbo truck. It's doing awesome. I love this build, I love this truck. I wanna know what you guys have to think, and if you guys could please like and subscribe, that would be awesome. It'd really help me out. Have a good one, and I'll catch you on part 2.